Lots of good stuff on AI Roundup today. First up,
beat me, Scotty, you must.
or at least Gizmodo let AI publish something like that. Plus, Sarah Silverman leads up the roast of OpenAI. Actually, more like she's suing them for copyright infringement. And NYC regulates against AI hiring. OpenAI plans to develop superintelligent AI. And robots hold a conference in the UN about the state of AI. All right, what up, everybody? I'm Phil Buck, back again with another episode of AI Roundup. I'm excited. I got a ton of great stories to jump into. Before we do that, just a few things I want to tell you about coming up on the MSP Media Network. On Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, we got another episode of the Pitch It Vendor Spotlight featuring Tel Aviv and MPS Toolbox. And also later that same day, our rescheduled episode of the Tech Bar with Ricky Cicchini of Cloud Radio. And we also have a new show on the network, MSP Community Live, which debuted last week, and a new episode just came out on this Sunday over the weekend. Now, with that being said, this morning I was browsing looking for stories for the show, and I was in a Facebook group for The Good Place. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that show on NBC. It's a really good one. I would recommend checking it out. But somebody put a meme in there about AI, and it was something along the lines of, regardless of the moral implications, AI is here to stay. And the comment section was a dumpster fire. And I could see why. The first part being, regardless of the moral implications, yeah, that phrase is doing a lot of heavy lifting there. I don't really agree with that sentiment, but I do agree with the sentiment that it's here to stay. A lot of people in the comments were saying that, hey, if we shame these companies or if we shame people using it, yeah, I totally get that. I think that's the right way to go in a lot of instances. But it's a sentiment that I've expressed on this show a lot, which is, essentially we've created this, whatever you want to call it. Let's just call it a box for now, where if you put a certain amount of data into it, you can get it to help you get that data back out in another form. I think that's a great tool. I think it's a great invention, and it's going to transform the way we do our work and the way we live our lives. The problem is, in order to get to that point, we've seen now so many abuses of the data that is needed to make this box work. And so we're going to be getting into a lot of that today. Speaking of which, let's just go ahead and jump right into the actual impact segment of the show. Okay, so if you're wondering why I was using a Yoda voice at the top of the show, well, then let me explain. From this article by Variety, written by Todd Spangler, Gizmodo's IO9 section published an AI-generated article about Star Wars movies and TV shows, which was produced without the input or advanced knowledge of the site's editorial staff. The article, attributed to Gizmodo Bot, had several inaccuracies, such as incorrect chronological order of titles and omitted Star Wars series. James Whitbrook, IO9 and Gizmodo's deputy editor, criticized the piece for being error-ridden and poor in quality, and deemed its publication an affront to the site's standards and integrity. The Gizmodo Media Group Union claims that this AI effort was pushed by GO Media CEO Jim Spanfeller and other key editorial staff. As of now, there has been no response from GO Media. Okay, so I think this is fascinating for several reasons, one of which, we don't need AI to write articles about Star Wars of all things. I mean, this just blows me away. There's so many Star Wars nerds out there that are ready to write listicles about Star Wars. Why did the executives at GO Media think this was a good use of AI? I do think there are good uses of AI in journalism, mainly just, sorting through massive amounts of data. But the lack of editorial, oversight here is insane to me. And it feels especially an affront that the people that, really are in the trenches doing the work of this magazine, of this publication, if you will, we're just blindsided with this. I don't get it. And I think this is the worst instance, the worst uses of AI, where they're literally just trying to supplant workers with AI to make garbage. I mean, give me a break. Anyway. Okay, so next up, this is a big one, and this is continuing a trend that we saw last week and that we've been seeing for a while. This is from The Verge by Wes Davis. Sarah Silverman is suing OpenAI and Meta for copyright infringement. Comedian Sarah Silverman and authors Christopher Golden and Richard Kadri are suing AI companies OpenAI and Meta, accusing them of copyright infringement. The plaintiffs allege that OpenAI's ChatGPT and Meta's Llama were trained on datasets containing their copyrighted works, which were obtained illegally from shadow library websites. The lawsuits assert that when prompted, the AI models can summarize the plaintiff's books, infringing on their copyrights. The authors claim that they did not consent to their books being used as training material and are seeking damages and restitution of profits. This case highlights the ongoing legal questions around the use of copyrighted materials in AI training datasets. So I feel like I'm a broken record, so I'm not going to repeat myself again on this same subject that we just talked about at the top of the show, but this article is what brought it to my attention. And I think this is probably the worst case version of, it's better to ask for forgiveness than for permission. I can see how these companies needed to test this technology against these massive amounts of data. I just don't understand why they went to market with it like this. I mean, it's just mind blowing to me. It's just greed, right? It's just the capitalistic drive to say we got to make a profit off of this thing. I get that. I understand where that comes from, but I just wonder how far this is going to go. How much restitution is OpenAI and Meta going to have to pay? Maybe it's not enough to stop them. Maybe that's really the calculation that was made. I always think of Fight Club, where the unnamed protagonist / Tyler Durden, sorry, spoiler alert, describes how his job is calculating if they do a recall of a car based on, how many people are going to die, how much is it going to cost a business. It's a really grim calculation that they have to do. Maybe that's all that happened here is OpenAI and Meta have said, train it. People are going to sue us. We can afford to pay them. I don't know. And our last story for the actual impact segment today from foxbusiness.com by Breck Dumas. New York City's new AI hiring software regulations hit with pushback from business groups. A new law, Local Law 144 in New York City, mandates employers to have their artificial intelligence powered hiring softwares audited for any biases, particularly racial or sexist, before use. The law, which took effect on Wednesday, also requires employers to publicly post the audit results and inform NYC-based candidates if such a tool is used in the hiring process. Employers found violating the law may face a fine up to $500 for the first violation and up to $1,500 for each subsequent violation. However, major business groups, including the Society for Human Research Management and the Job Creator Network, have criticized the law as an excessive regulation, threatening to expose businesses to unnecessary lawsuits and hampering workforce innovation. All right, I found this story pretty fascinating because this law actually goes back to 2021 as I read the article. It's not actually something that's that new. And in fact, the implementation of what we're talking about as far as AI within these hiring softwares, if you will, is kind of a newer development than this law itself. I do think the spirit of this is a good idea. I'm just not really sure what this looks like in execution. So, hopefully we'll see some follow-up. If you've ever used any of these programs for hiring purposes, I'd love to hear about it. Hit us up on the MMN Discord, and I'd love to hear more about your experience. All right, that's it for our actual impact stories for today. So let's zoom out and take a look at some big picture stories. First up from TechCrunch.com by Kyle Wiggers. OpenAI is forming a new team to bring superintelligent AI under control. OpenAI, under the leadership of its chief scientist and co-founder Ilya Sutskever, is forming a team to develop strategies to manage and control superintelligent AI systems. Sutskever and Jan Leik, a lead at OpenAI's alignment team, speculate that AI that surpasses human intelligence could emerge within the decade. They highlight that currently there are no effective measures to control such advanced AI systems and prevent them from behaving unpredictably. The new team, called the Super Alignment Team, will attempt to solve the central technical challenges of controlling superintelligent AI in the next 4 years. They aim to build a human-level automated alignment researcher that can train AI systems using human feedback, help in evaluating other AI systems, and carry out alignment research. OpenAI's hypothesis is that AI can progress faster and more efficiently in alignment research than humans, While acknowledging the potential limitations and risks, the team believes that the superintelligence alignment is primarily a machine learning problem, and they plan to share their findings broadly to contribute to the safety and alignment of AI models beyond OpenAI. Okay, so this is one of those big picture scary stories where, the team at OpenAI it readily admits that they think AI more intelligent than humans is on the way, and they are trying to find a way to corral it. Having already spoken about OpenAI on the show today, I hope that maybe they'll just slow down a little bit on the super intelligent AI. Maybe get your data in check. Stop training it on comedians that can roast you into the ground. Moving right along, from Vox by Rainy Mola. Scared tech workers are scrambling to reinvent themselves as AI experts. In the face of layoffs, pay stagnation, and lessening demand for traditional tech skills, artificial intelligence specialists have emerged as a highly sought-after profession in Silicon Valley. According to Zach Brown, founder of AI startup Nonprofits HQ, the current trend in the industry leans heavily toward AI-powered operationists. Job openings and salary data indicate a strong demand for software engineers with a background in AI, and these professionals often enjoy a significant pay advantage over their non-AI counterparts. This has prompted tech workers from various fields to retrain or repurpose their existing skills to break into AI. Many are learning on the job, attending boot camps, and pursuing self-education to gain the necessary AI skills. So this is obvious, and again, I feel like it's a buzzword, but I do feel like that at the core, there are skills that, if people understand how to automate AI, essentially what this is doing is you've seen the layoffs in companies where they anticipate that AI can really take a significant amount of the workload off the table and let automation do it. I think these are the people that are going to drive that. So I guess if you're training up on this stuff, where is the value to employers that, people are seeing the hiring potential really come through? Once again, as I always say, hit us up in the Discord. Let us know what you think. And the last story, which I shouldn't laugh, but I had to laugh a little bit, not only because of the image that Midjourney generated for this, but just the story itself. From Cointelegraph.com by Savannah Fortis. The UN holds a robot press conference about the state of AI. The International Telecommunication Union, a tech agency of the United Nations, hosted the AI for Good 2023 Global Summit, where 9 advanced androids, including Sophia and Grace, participated in the UN's first robot press conference. Topics discussed included job automation, AI leadership, and human-machine collaboration. Sophia suggested that robots, with their ability to make unbiased and data-driven decisions, could potentially lead more efficiently than humans. Grace, a robot designed for healthcare services, reassured that her role is to assist, not replace human workers. The summit was intended to showcase the capabilities, limitations, and potential benefits of AI and robotics in advancing the UN's goals. I don't know what else to say here. I mean, obviously, this is not going away. All right, I'm sorry I laughed at the top of this story, but, don't get me wrong. I do take it seriously. I do see the potential of all of this. But then when you read the statements from the AI, or, the robot speaking from AI, or prepared statements that the robots can speak on behalf of their creators, it all feels very, tongue-in-cheek, lip servicey type stuff. If you've played with OpenAI or any other Bing or whatever, you know that it's really good at just spitting out, regurgitating, kind of PR-friendly corporate speak. If you ever ask it for help, it's going to go straight to the most common, self-help type knowledge that it could scrape off the internet. So, but when I see stuff like this, it feels so superficial to me. I hope that it will keep developing and that I can look at something like this without laughter. But for now, I'm just not there yet. So speaking of not quite there yet, I got to touch on something for our use case. Let's jump right into it. Okay, for today's use case, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. This is just really going to be a teaser of a use case because there is so much to unpack. If you haven't heard, OpenAI finally released the beta of Code Interpreter, a new plugin for ChatGPT if you're using GPT-4. If you haven't seen it roll out yet, like me, you need to make sure you go check your settings and under beta features, turn on Code Interpreter. I'm not going to do a use case on it today because there is so much that you can do with it. most people are touching on how it can analyze and visualize data, but it is essentially at its heart a Python sandbox. So it can do so many things like convert files, such as edit video. You can apply utility to GPT's abilities for the first time, and I am super excited about this. So stay tuned. Next week I will be back with a use case, a much deeper dive into some stuff that we can do with Code Interpreter. And speaking of which, if you're using it, jump in the MMN Discord, let us know what you're doing with it. All right, guys, I'm Phil Buck. This has been your AI Roundup for July 12th. I want to thank you so much for joining me. Make sure you follow us on social media at MSP Media TV. If you have any questions, you can email us news@mspmedia.tv or leave us a voicemail, 833-MSP-Network. All right, guys, until next time, make sure you're staying vigilant and holding these AI makers accountable. Feel free to roast them for me on behalf of Sarah Silverman and these other authors that are taking them to court. It's going to be a weird road ahead. It's just getting started. So I'll be right back here next week at the same time, Wednesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern. And until then, take care of yourselves. I'll see you then.
This has been a broadcast of the MSP Media Network.